Hailing all nerds, this is More Than Dice, the podcast where we dive deep into the realms of everything nerdy. Whether you're a nerd culture connoisseur, a tabletop titan, a miniature gaming marveler, or just someone who proudly embraces their inner geek, this is the podcast for you. And now here's your hosts, Gonzo, Nerd, and Mizzy.
Welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm Nerd.
I'm Mizzy.
Welcome to episode 312.
12.
Today is going to be our top fives. We're doing a little bit of fun. We apologize that we haven't been around. We had some major issues with OBS crashing, so fingers crossed everything stays the same. We think we got it fixed. We are no longer using certain programs. We'll be adding things back in as we go along, like, raid stuff, the banners, things that are going on as we start getting things worked out a bit. But that's just kind of how what we're going to do. Other than that, let's get to the business. We got to thank all of our sponsors that have been around for a bit. We want to thank Judgment for making Eternal Champions, aka Creature Caster, as they are working through a bunch of things, getting some new models in and getting the game going. Plus, also make sure you check out their tribe, where you can get a 5th edition module, roughly about 8 or so models to go with that module for 5th edition. We want to thank Turbo Dork for makers of awesome metallic and turbo shifting paint. I had a very good discussion with one of my coworkers because they were looking for that. It's like, oh, I like their paints. And I'm like, cool, they're pretty cool people. We want to thank... who else is on our list? Midnight Heroes for sponsoring the channel and providing a bunch of cool stuff that's going on. You should check out, they're doing a bunch of rebranding and a bunch of new models coming. I believe they're at ReaperCon right now. So,
They are.
Yes. We want to thank, there is a problem right now with Muse on Minis. It looks like they're having some security issues. We are not putting our videos up there just right now. So if you've been listening to us, you get to use the normal RSS feed instead of Muse on Minis feed type thing. So you can do it on SoundCloud or other platforms that you can listen to us on. But there was something wrong with their security features, and their server is not secure right now. And so you can't log into it. You can't do anything with it. Who else?
Cuttlefish.
Oh yeah, Cuttlefish Colors. Don't forget to check out their paints. They're an awesome line. If you like some good sketching glazes. I already got Creature Caster.
Okay.
So.
Creature Caster, Muse, Turbo, Cuttlefish.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think that was it. It's weird how much that I've been saying that and how often I've said that, but I still look up at the banner whenever it comes on, and I don't have the banner on right now, so I can't see it. So
gotta have the cheat codes.
Yeah, the little cheat codes on there. But that was in. But this week, these last 2 weeks has been kind of busy for us. We've been trying to get the found out that OBS was having problems with streaming, and it was crashing on us constantly. So we believe we got everything fixed. Everything should come back up. We can start doing everything like normal. What else? I don't know if we have any shout outs or anything, do we? I don't think
I am unaware.
Not that I'm aware of either. I'm sure something has happened, but we have to talk about important facts. Yeah, there was a wrestler, but I'm not sure who it was. I just remembered that. But what else? We got to talk about like drinks. Nerd, what are you drinking tonight?
I've got the last little bit of my black raspberry sparkling ice
that you got right before the podcast, right before we started. Already downed it. You're thirsty.
I'm thirsty.
Are you thirsty, bitch?
Thirsty bitch.
Mizzy, what are you drinking?
I have my orange mango sparkling ice that I have not downed because I am dehydrated.
I'm doing the good old fashioned water. Got a little bit of a allergy I think is going on, a little bit of sniffliness, so I'm just drinking a bunch of water type
Xander
stuff.
said Sid Vicious.
Oh yeah, I
Vid,
remember.
yeah,
Or
vid,
because
vidcast.
I can't read. I can't words. Sorry.
Yeah,
Could be vicious, and it could be a misspelling. We don't know.
yeah.
I'm gonna guess Vidkiss because Sid Vicious is from the Sex Pistols.
Yep.
Okay, Vidkiss. All right.
So, but we're gonna get into these top five because I'm gonna let Nerd and Mizzy kind of like run the show on this, and I'm just gonna answer questions as they come up. So, as both of them give me looks like what the fuck.
Oh, what we
Guys,
talked about.
so the things we need to talk about is we need to make sure we're looking after each other. As always, like we say, if you see something, say something. If you hear something, say something. If you can, do something about it. If you can't, find somebody that will, because we've got to look after each other. All the stuff's going around. There's an incident that happened this last weekend, and there were people that didn't say something, and somebody finally said something, and it got taken care of. And so we know a lot of people right now are out at different conventions. There's ReaperCon, there's
Nova.
Nova. There's like 6 conventions this weekend. So we hope all of our friends come back safe from that. Um, so PAX West, I think, is this weekend too. I mean, there was like 6 conventions this weekend.
So many conventions.
So many. So Dragon Con, and there's like one other one that our friend Monica Pepperaki was going to. So we just got to be nice and careful out there. Um, so other than that, folks, cheers.
Cheers. The orange
So
is not the best.
orange is never good. You know, there's orange candy. I like throw that shit away automatically.
I don't know. I love me my gummy orange slices.
Right? Those are so good. I have to have them in moderation though because I don't have a giant sweet tooth.
You
Anything
good
orange.
Gonzo is not good. That's like his avocado reaction.
Those ones that you like have to hit on the table to crack into the slices.
No, the orange, chocolate oranges, no.
Oh, the chocolate oranges, the dark one's the best.
So we've been talking about doing a top 5 because we've always been wanting to do, and we just didn't want to do like here's our top 5 movies. We didn't want to spend an hour and a half, 2 hours doing that. We wanted to do top 5 different things. So we'll kind of alternate hobby and other things. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, Nerd and Mizzy, was our top 5 favorite paints. Not paint ranges. This could be anything related to paint wise. And so we were going to do it. I'm going to tell you that one of my top 5 paint things to use is Agrath Earthshade. I'm going to tell you right now, that thing for any like dulling down and to just mute the color a little bit, really good for shading, and then to put it in and then highlight up from it. If I want it to be muted browned, muted down browned, I use Agrath Earthshade, and that's what I did for my Necrofactorium when I had the purple on there. I didn't want a really, 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 really bright purple, and so I put that on there, and then I put that Agrath Earthshade on it, and it just mutes it down just enough. And I use that on all of my earth tone models. If I'm painting them in brown, Agrath Earthshade. If I'm painting, it's a base, Agrath Earthshade type thing, and that thing is wonders. I don't care what anybody says. And I'll buy another bottle. Very few GW stuff I buy, and it's usually the technical paints that I buy from GW. So, Nerd.
That actually made me want to switch one of mine. Now I've got to find it. Is that it?
Same.
Yeah. Okay. Because I did not take washes into consideration.
Oh.
Because I was going straight with paints. But Drukai Violet or Drukai. I don't know.
Drukai.
Words.
It's a word, and it's purple, and it's a shade from Citadel. But I use this a lot. It's a really fun contrast to put over green. Also gold. It's a really, really good wash for gold metallics.
Interesting.
Opposite color wheel stuff, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Color theory.
yeah.
It's a thing.
Yee. Sometime one of these days I'll do a tutorial on that if I ever figure out. But yeah, no, the Citadel Druchii Violet Druchii. Mizzy.
My first one is going to be a P3 color. For when I have copious amounts of metal dry brushing that I need to do, and I need just a little bit of shine on something. Pig iron.
Pig iron is an amazing metallic color.
Uh
I
huh.
really hope that they keep that formula. So, if everybody doesn't know, Steamforge Games is doing the P3 line again, and it's going to be coming out as a Kickstarter, and you can get them either in dropper bottles or in pots, type thing. So they're going to do it as a Kickstarter, and there's certain P3 colors that are an automatic must-have. Coal black being one of them,
Yes.
and stuff. But pig iron is very good.
And then
Metallic.
just going back to the washes and stuff, using pig iron with some Nuln Oil on your metal stuff, solid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Pig iron is and Noil going on that. Null oil is one of my most used paints. Also, one of my top 5 things. I've got multiple bottles of that because Null oil. That's what I did for my
My fetchy on
Necrofactorium.
everything.
Yeah, you wash it on almost everything, and it's good. You just want a darker contrast, and then darker in the thing. Especially doing something if you do it like you're saying, dry brushing metal. And then once you're dry brushing metal, you null oil it, and then take a lighter silver over the top of it just to touch the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Magic in a bottle.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, super easy, super quick, and super clean. So no oil is my next one, nerd.
I'm gonna go with a metallic. My favorite metallic is Shipwreck Bronze from Cuttlefish.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, it's darker than your normal bronze, and so I think it's like a good neutral metallic. That's also good that you can use this to then base up to a gold or work up to a gold or something like that. Because I will actually mix metallics in order to create shades and highlights.
Yep.
So,
I like it.
yes. But this with some black wash and then start going over for highlights, just
Miss.
Cool.
Is it?
My next one is based solely off of the fact that I love this color. And I haven't found a project to use it on yet, but I'm on the hunt for it. But it's P3's Beaten Purple. Because it's just so nice.
Yeah. The P3 purples are really, really good. I'll be glad when the P3 range comes back again if they have the same consistency, which I'm sure that they're trying to do all of it. But Beaten Purple was a very good color too.
Uh-huh. And as soon as I get my hands on a project, I'm slapping it on there. It's gonna be glorious. Gonzo?
So I'm gonna go with the purple also, but since I don't have the B3 Beaten Purple, I have the scale 75 Sunset Purple. It's a darker purple, but I like it because it's got really good coverage. It doesn't have to, you don't have to do multiple layers with it, but it is a very good purple, and that's what the Necrofactorium. That's one I'm using it on a lot. Anytime I go for a purple, it's this Sunset Purple from scale 75.
I'm glad you enjoy your scale 75.
Nerd.
I'm also gonna go with the purple, and this is the Reaper Master Series paint Nightshade Purple, which is a black purple. This is a great base color for a lot of different kinds of purple. but I will also thin this out and use this as like a glaze almost to the point of a wash to get into like recesses for stuff with or to smooth out other purples, lighter purples. So it's
Nice.
good. We like purple.
Yeah. Another great color that goes with purple. Necrotite green. You know, it's a really good ooze color, and like if you want like that glowy effect, it's just great. Here
Another
for it.
P3 paint.
Another P3 paint. I unintentionally picked 3 P3 paints. I was like, "Oh, pretty colors. Yes,
Uh,
sign me up."
so keeping with the P3 one, my next one was coal black. Coal black is such an amazing black because it's a black with a bluish green tint to it. And what's interesting is um, when you paint with it, it's got that little tinge to it. But then you go to highlight it with either a blue or a green, and it just, a dark blue, dark green, it pops. And then if you dry brush it, it becomes a grayish look to it. And so it's got a gray with a little blue tint to it. And that's how I did my Magnus and Invictus was with um, coal black because it was so interesting because it's when I airbrushed it, it was a dark, dark, dark black green on all
Ooh.
the armor, and it looked really, really cool. So another P3 paint, big shocker that we're talking about three. Some of our favorite colors and things is P3 paints.
Not
So
sponsored.
not sponsored, but there's and the thing is about all these paints, they're a lot of them are iconic paints from different sets. It's not like
Mhm.
the entire line. It's like these are just really good colors.
Yeah.
So nerd, what's your next one?
This is my most used green. This is the Afterlife green from Cuttlefish, which is like this gorgeous, just bright acid green. And it I will sometimes base in this and then work up to like fluorescent yellow to get some really awesome like glow pops. But I haven't it's just I find any excuse to use this on a model.
That's fair.
All right, Mizzy.
My next one is shifting from P3, and I'm gonna go into Turbo Dork. I love the red rum.
Yeah, it's a
It's
good
a
metallic red.
gorgeous red. It's super metallic, and I love it. And when I get the space and abilities to have an airbrush, I will be all up on that.
Yeah, they're metallic. They're colored metallics, like the reds and the blues and the purples are really, really good and solid.
Oh,
I can't reach over and grab it, but it is the uh, Duncan Rhodes Tooth and Coat yellow. One of the best yellows on the market right now, in my opinion. Yellow is a pain in the ass to paint with because it has shitty coverage for most of the time. It's hard to cover over it. You usually have to paint a light coat of something else and then paint with a yellow to get it to pop really well. But that their base yellow is really good. It's got good coverage. It's nice and thick paint. It's super solid. It's one of the best yellows I've ever used.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
I will 100% agree with that.
Yeah, if anybody like when people tell me like, hey, what paint sets, to buy, I was like, right now, I would say if you're gonna buy a paint set and you're starting out, the two thin coats, both wave one and wave two and wave three, whatever all their set is like the best right now for people starting out because you get a base color, a highlight, and a shade color, and you have all three colors together. The triad system, super
Mhm.
solid. Um, Type thing
I
for the
don't have
people.
to think about color choices when
That's
picking my
why I
shades and
like
highlights.
that's why I like Reaper,
Yeah.
to
So
be
I mean
honest.
that thing is,
I'll build some threads
yeah.
mostly.
But I mean, like I said, so if you get if I was going to recommend like right now, say, hey, I'm starting out, I want to buy a set of paint, I would say Duncan Rhodes. One is probably the cheapest out of all of them,
Mhm.
and it's easier for people to get into because they're like, oh, here's my yellow, here's my highlight, here's my shade, I'm good type
Yes,
thing, and
very
people.
Yep.
beginner friendly.
Yeah, very beginner friendly. Plus, it's got really good coverage. For people, if you haven't tried them yet, they've got great coverage. and a wide range. I'm actually waiting for my next wave, should be coming out pretty soon. So I got a spot all set aside over for them. So there's my top 5 favorite paints and a wide variety. Nerd, what's your last one?
All right, my last one is another cuttlefish. This was one of the first sets I ever owned a complete set of, but their jaded is another. Their jaded green is another one of my
Is
absolute.
that green or is that blue?
It looks bluer on screen than it actually is.
Okay.
It's kind of like a magenta green or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So like compared to the like acid green that this is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's bleen. It is bleen.
We love a bleen.
We love a bleen. This is best bleen.
Yeah.
I like that.
I honestly I love using this as like a bamboo color and then highlighting up to afterlife.
Glorious.
There's my top 5 paint. All right, Mizzy.
My last one is a Army Painter speed paint because I paint a lot of trolls and I need a lot of blue, but I love their Caribbean Ocean for my troll skin. It is glorious. And I don't have to think about shading or highlighting because it does it for me. Layers.
So there's our top 5 hobby paints that we really like, recommend. And it's interesting that, you know, P3 was quite a few of our choices, a few GWs. And that's the thing we tell people is like, you don't be brand loyal, be color loyal. Find colors you like, type thing, type stuff. That way you can always find whatever you like. Because I mean, there's some of the stuff in Scale 75 I don't like. There's things in different sets I don't like. Like whites are really really hard to find something really good. It's the reason why I have a base white, and I use a Scale 75 white, but then I put Dalaran ink white in there to thin it, because if painting with white and you're not airbrushing and you're putting it on with a brush, it'll get goopy and stuff like that. So there's that. I want to talk about one that's probably going to take us a while to get through, and that's RPGs. Our top 5 RPGs.
It's going to take y'all a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
that's
how
many of these we have in common.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about the top 5. I'm going to go off, and while I do like a dark game and everything, and I do like a more adult theme to my games and such whenever I run them. The World of Darkness Vampire series is great in my opinion. It's one of my top 5 RPGs, and I'm going to encompass the World of Darkness because if you play a strictly vampire game, great, nothing wrong with that. But I like to add the other World of Darkness into it. It's got a very simple system: roll d10s, count up, use success or fail. No big deal. Very good role play, very good story, a lot of good products, so you don't have to think about a lot of things for people. You have a lot of good background. There's a ton of great things with Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness series. I at one time did play a World of Darkness game where we had someone that was a vampire, someone was a werewolf, one person that was a mummy, one person was a changeling, and we had a mage. Type thing, and it was all played together, and it worked because it's all the same system. So it was pretty interesting and fun. But Vampire the Masquerade to me is one of the top 5 RPGs. Simple system, great storytelling, great background, great fun. Highly recommend it. Nerd.
I had Vampire the Masquerade on my list too.
Oh.
Well, then why don't you go next?
I mean,
and then I'll follow up with my dark one.
I mean, Gonzo said it all, really. It's beginner friendly and it's really interesting and fun to play. And it's different than regular D&D because it's got its own system.
Hey, and you still get the magic and the superpowers and all this stuff in a modern world, and it is a lot easier for a lot of GMs and a lot of players to get into it. Because all you got to do is say, "Hey, this is set in 2024." Boom, Bob's your uncle. Type thing.
Nerd.
Mine was Call of Cthulhu, which was one of the earlier RPGs that I ever played. I met some really cool people through it, but like despite the dark tone of it, we found ways to have fun and not get like too bogged down. It, but also like we would have those serious moments when necessary, but we would find the light in the darkness of that game. Like my first character died fairly quickly due to
which is very
madness.
common in Call of Cthulhu
So
games.
I played his widow. And I was a crazy cat lady, and every day the game master would have me roll for a chance to find a new cat
Oh my god, that's glorious.
as I carried around my taxidermied old one. Um yeah, like we also like the first session I ever played in, we it started off we're in an asylum and our goal is to get out. What did we do? We started a food fight in the cafeteria, goddammit.
Call of Cthulhu is a
Like
very deadly game. You could
it
read one
is.
sentence in a book and your character goes insane.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
how bad and deadly that game is.
Yeah, we were playing the 1920s variant, and I very much I enjoy that there are different eras, so you can like it will provide historical context for like the World War II version versus the 1920s versus by gaslight versus others. So yeah, Gonzo.
Um, so I have a book and I haven't played it. And actually, the vampire game we were gonna play, I was going to be, once we finished that, the story was going to continue into this new system, because it would have been post-apocalyptic because they were going to do stuff, but we're no longer playing that. So I didn't get to mold into this. But there's a game called Sins, Sins. Sins is a
Okay.
post-apocalyptic game where giant Cthulhu type, beings came down and pretty much have destroyed the world. Humanity was partially saved, but in the process, tons of people got turned into zombies, undead varieties, pestilent creatures, so on and so forth. And you're an awakened evil creature. So you have abilities that the creatures that corrupted the world have. Like you can actually cause a plague yourself, but you're trying to regain your humanity. The setting is really cool. It's very neat and interesting. I didn't get to dive into the game system as much, but it's nothing that's too complicated. But the story, the setting, and having to survive in a world where you're pretty much an awakened zombie is the best way to put it. Um, you remember things, you gain partial your humanity back, but you cause you can cause a shit ton of damage. You're super super powerful, type thing, and it just looked really fun, very interesting. I originally was going to take our vampire game after they failed the apocalypse because it was going to fail no matter what, and their
We
characters were
were
going to.
set up to fail.
You were, and it was set up on purpose because your characters would have been 200 years in the future in this new post-apocalyptic scene, being corrupted by what was going on. But I really liked it. There's very few books. There's like 2 books and a GM screen, I think. But it is a very neat game system and neat world that I thought would have been really fun to play in and run type stuff. Nerd.
My next one is going to be Tephra, which is one that not a lot of people have heard of. It is a steampunk themed game where everything is based on a D12. 12 hours of the day, steampunk, clockwork, all that kind of stuff. We ran it as a heist. Um, but like I basically played like a gentleman dandy who happened to be very skilled with a sword, but like you take wounds and you end up with scars and things like that. Like it's I felt like combat had more impact on your character than like D&D where all you have to do is rest or take a healing potion and you're good to go. Um we didn't get to play a whole lot of it, but I very much enjoyed what we got to explore with it, like airships and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Nice.
Mizzy?
My next one we talked about a lot last week when we were trying to fix the stream because it's a really great RPG, but you have to be careful with it. Die.
What is
So
die, Mizzy?
Die is a game within a game. You are playing D&D Inception. So you like take your character and then in the game you're making a party, but then you get transported into this whole other realm and you get fucked up really fast if you're not careful. Um so like they have like these goblins and other monsters and stuff, right? That I'm remembering that right,
Yes,
I think.
creatures.
Yeah, creature things, and they will pick at your traumas and fuck you up.
So pretty much the premises of die is you create a real world persona in the modern world that goes to play a role playing game, and you get sucked into that role playing game, and you have to try to get out of it. And it is a very adult game, by the way, so there's warnings on it because it will use um, the creatures in this game will use your real world personas, fears, triggers against them. So if you have a character that's afraid of, afraid of being bullied because they were bullied in high school, they'll portray as the bullies we were in high school. It is based off of a graphic novel, which the graphic novel is really good. If you haven't read it, it's very interesting. But the game is like super, super overpowered. There, you don't even get to pick your class when you join into the RPG world. The
And you get
storyteller,
one die.
yeah, you get to use one die to play the entire game with. And actually, the GM actually plays a character too, so it's actually pretty interesting and fun.
GM
Um,
cheats.
yeah, the GM's a dick because the GM can actually, when he plays the game master in the game, can get in trouble and die also, type thing. But um, it's got very interesting concepts. To give you an idea, there's something called an emotion night, and whenever they get um, certain, they can take emotions from things and power up their abilities. And if they get to their maximum, one of them is you can destroy a god or an idea, and it automatically happens. There's nothing you can do about it. The GM can technically stop that by cheating, but if he gets caught for cheating, the gods of the world will kill him type thing. So there's like different things that can happen, um, type stuff. So the GM actually plays a character in this too. The world
Right.
of die is a D20, by the way, and each triangle is a different universe per se, or a different facet. Like one of them is ruled by Tolkien, where it's elves and dwarves and goblins and all fighting, but in World War II. Um, and and they talk about this in the book, and it's very interesting to see. The inside of the die is ruled by H.P. Lovecraft, so there's just a ton of good things. But it is a very mature game, so fair
Yes.
warning.
You have been warned.
You
Guns up.
have been warned. Going about that one again, Apocalypse Keys. We haven't played it yet, but I really like this
Oh,
system. I
that's
really
my
like this
honorable
world.
mention.
Yeah, so Apocalypse Keys, think Hellboy, but everybody's Hellboy. Everybody holds a key to the apocalypse inside of their body, and
Okay.
if they don't, if they succumb to it, you start the apocalypse. You get a ton of cool powers and you get to do a lot of cool things, but you're trying to keep your humanity so you don't cause the apocalypse of the world, is the best way to put it. The system seemed very simple, but it was a very cool setting, where everybody is a key, everybody has a power, or everybody is something that could bring about the apocalypse of the world. And if you do, your character becomes an NPC, and then shenanigans abound, type of thing. Um, Really simple book. Also done by the same people that do Die. I think they're all integrated. I
Okay.
think they're working together in that, which is interesting. But very fun, good concept. It is an adult Steam tile type of game, so it does deal with adult topics, So these are ones that you definitely have to make sure that you know. You might have to have an after session when you're done playing. But
Take care of you and your players.
yeah, because it's meant to, it's a modern day game type stuff. It's not a fantasy setting. Nerd?
Okay, so the next one I'm going to talk about is a variant of Blades in the Dark. So it is 100% based on Blades in the Dark. We just reskinned it for Feywild.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the Blades in the Dark system, I really, really like. I would love to play a just straight up Blades in the Dark campaign.
It's a great
or
system, and
one shot sometime.
it's a great little thieving guild vampiric, type system. It's got a ton of good reviews, by the way.
Yeah, we were playing an adventuring party that would go out into the Feywild to help, like or go to different villages. Like it was very episodic. It was one of those where people could come and go, so it wasn't always the same like makeup of people.
Yeah, because you play guild
But
members, pretty much is what it is. So you could have people
yeah,
come in and out like no problem.
exactly. Yes, guild people. We sat at the heroes table. But I liked again that you would take stress and harm and the way that you role play, there's no planning ahead. You plan backwards. So like, oh, well, we don't need to get all this gear because I thought of that a while ago. And then you have like a flashback montage of you explaining what you did to prepare for this. Like, oh well, I stashed some weapons in this tree because I thought ahead, kind of a thing. But based on skill sets that you have, and there's the different classes and all of that. But Daggerheart reminds me a bit of Blades in the Dark the in terms of the gameplay, but it forces a lot more creative role play and problem solving than just rolling dice because there's always consequences.
Yeah.
There's always consequences no matter what. It's just a matter of how extreme those consequences are. Mizzy?
I built my list off of games that I have played, and because I am a noob still, 2 of mine are D&D based, but I love them anyway. So the first one is the Gangs of Waterdeep campaign that we did, because I loved playing my little Kenku so much, because we had little goblin brothers. And the story is just, it was really fun, and even though I got exploded, I still had the time of my life with it, and I will always remember that game.
That
Yeah. For now.
So I had to change one of mine out because the last 2 days I've been reading a new RPG, and I am totally in love with this RPG. I got it on a whim because the artwork looked really cool and someone recommended it and stuff. And so I picked up, and it's been out for 2 years. I guess it was a Kickstarter, and now it's been out for about a year, technically, to everybody else. But it's called Household. I brought it in here because I was looking at it and showing some of the pictures. Household is an RPG where you play littles, aka the borrowers, aka Arietti, so on and so forth. You play little bitty characters inside of an abandoned mansion. You have sprites, fairies, and stuff like that. Very simple dice mechanics. You roll d6s and you match up matching numbers. And if you get certain matches, you get to do, certain things happen, type thing. But, and that's basically how the system works, type thing. But everything else in this, by the way, whoever decided to write this book from someone else's perspective as they were reading, because this is technically in the past and that society is gone, technically. Nobody knows about it. And they found this weird book, and it's someone writing the history novels of this. And so when you're reading it, you're reading from someone else's perspective talking about the household. Um, Sort of like how Volo does in all the books, when he writes from his perspective type stuff. And this is what they do here. And so it's fun to read because it's not just here is the rules of this game, blah blah blah, that type of thing. And so when you're reading kind of the lore of the game, it's interesting because you're reading a book, not just reading lore. Um, I'm gonna say the artwork in this, their artists that they hired to do this is fucking amazing. Uh, Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. Pretty much what it is you play sprites, brownies, those type of small little people in an abandoned house with the style of 13th Gothic century Europe. And so everybody's dressed up, everybody, there's actually social combat where if you're not dressed a certain way, people treat you differently. If you don't, etiquette, so on and so forth. And there's a bunch of different stuff. So you can play a high society to the, bottom barrel of things. And then there's a whole gambit. Um, you can buy a book that gives you, like here's a few more expansion stuff and here's everything about the household in depth, and then the third book is a 5-year campaign, so it gives you a campaign to last 5 years of the character's life,
Oh my.
type thing from start to finish, which was pretty cool. I got to look through that. That's the book that had your favorite character Maysong in it.
Okay.
uh, and so that was an NPC. I'm really digging this system. It is very simple. It is very. It is also um, based on. It's not just. It's the wounds is not just damage. It's not you're just not subtracting hit points. It's stress, and then it's broken, and then bruised, and certain things. So it just doesn't. It's not an automatic. You hit 0 hit points, you're dead, type stuff. And you can actually, there's abilities that let you like leave combat completely. Like one of the soldiers' abilities is escape combat, and you stay back just to hold the line, so everybody else can escape out of the combat, and then you can escape out of the combat, no matter what. But it's a role play thing too, because I mean, you're playing in a large abandoned mansion, and you're only probably maybe 3 inches tall, type thing. So you're really small. But it's got a very, very good system. Um, I dug into it as soon as I got the books and just started pounding over everything and the pictures. The artwork's gorgeous, type thing. So, um, highly recommend it if you can get it. And also, it's a small company. They probably want to put the order in, then went, yay, type thing, type stuff. Highly recommend. Nerd.
All right. I'm gonna be obvious, and I'm gonna say D&D 5th edition, but that's also because that's the one that I know the best and have played the most. It is also the system that I decided to start running games with. It was how I learned to dungeon master. Um, if I can manage to teach myself another system, I would love to run some other systems, but like I said, D&D is what I know. I like that it's very noob friendly.
Mhm.
Like I came from playing Pathfinder, which is based on 3.5, and D&D 3.5, and it was the constant math every time you got a new item or leveled, and it wasn't as intuitive to me as D&D has become. Um but it is by no means the best system out there, but it is the one that I have the most experience with, so that's why it is on my list.
Yeah.
And that
Melee?
is probably why your Black Sheep game that I play in is also on my list of games that I just absolutely love, because you run a great game. The group that you have gathered, we all
Completely by
flow
accident.
so naturally together. You gathered us here. You knew what you were doing.
Honestly, 3 of you were literally like the day before we were going to have session 0 ads.
I'm laughing so hard, but
It
it's
just
just
I couldn't have asked for a better group.
yeah, and even though like there was zero planning on my part, at least, like we all flow really great, and the story, and we're all pushing each other as well, which is it's nice to be able to get out of my shell and not feel like I'm a toad.
You're not allowed to be a wallflower in my game.
Yeah. Zedish doesn't want to be a wallflower. They want to smash everything, okay?
Including Lady Blacksmiths.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
My last
Gonzo?
one and my favorite RPG of all time is, of course, Earthdawn. For people that don't know, Earthdawn is now made by FOSSA, which is not the original FOSSA, but it is FOSSA. And it's got a really good core mechanic, really good setting, really, really awesome game system. I really like it a lot. I play it all the time. If I recommend any game system that's fantasy based, I recommend Earthdawn because it gives you a lot of good flexibility, a lot of good character building. Your characters feel powerful from the start. They don't feel like they're wimps. But
Unless
it
you're a
is,
squishy wizard.
and well, that's your fault for getting close to something you're not supposed to get close
That
to.
is my fault. That said,
Uh,
even though I'm playing a squishy wizard, it's also on my list of top 5 games.
yeah.
Wizard.
So I do have a couple of honorable mentions at the end of this, though. So go ahead, nerd. What's your last one?
All right, my last one. This was hard. I had to choose between two Grant Howlett RPGs, and I settled with Honey Heist. Um, heists are like my favorite genre. Like it's probably why I like spy movies and things like Heat, movies like Heat, things like that. Um, but Honey Heist is you play as a gang of bears. Um, each time you roll for the kind of bear you are, what skills you are, or what like role you have in the group, and then go from there. And you have fun. You make your rolls. Everything is a d6, and it's either like you're either roll for bear or roll for criminal, depending on what you're trying to do. If you go full bear, you end up like going on a rampage and like abandoning your group. If you go full criminal, you end up screwing them over and leaving your group. Like it's a lot of fun, and you can throw it in almost any setting and just be like, all right, you guys are bears at Madison Square Garden. Like you're there for a Comic-Con. What you gonna do? Your goal is to get XYZ. So I just didn't like it. I like it. It's simple rules. It's one that you can play in one session. Like I'm sure that you could kind of make an ongoing thing, but it's designed to be like single session games.
Like
And
Goblin with a
I
fat
like that.
ass.
I still need to run that. I still need to run that.
Yes, you do.
I need to finish reading through the I need to finish like familiarizing myself with the rules. So, Gonzo or sorry, Mizzy.
Mizzy already.
I was getting thrown off by Discord.
That's okay. Mizzy said Earthdawn with Gonzo
E.
because I really like the step abilities. So your abilities are based on steps, and yes, you do have to do a little bit of math, but once you get the system down, it's not that hard, and you can increase your steps as you go. So, and then if your DM has a rule of cool thing, they can give you more steps.
Which I think is, for me, that's like a thing no matter what. Rule of cool, you do say you're going to do something cool when your description, you get a bonus. I mean, because it adds to the story type thing.
Yeah.
I do have a couple of honorable mentions. One, I did want to put in the One Ring by Free League because it's a great low fantasy, low magic game, which I think is a really good. Of course, it's based off of Lord of the Rings, and it's a low fantasy, low magic system. But one that I've liked because I think it's really cool and actually be really fun to play, and I may do an online version comedy of it,
Okay.
and call it Culinary in the Catacombs, which is Break.
Love
I've
this
heard about
one.
this one.
So Break is I just got my Kickstarter and have been reading it over and going through stuff. I had Mizzy look it over, and pretty much you can play Delicious in Dungeons with this, and it would be easy to just run this as not only a one shot, but players can come in and out no problem whatsoever. But pretty much what it is it's anime inspired beyond to the 10th level because you can actually have players that come from the real world into the anime world and be here and such. And it's a lot of fun. It'd be a good, silly, comedic, type of game to play. Super light rules, super light fun. But that was an honorable mention one because um, I've noticed that now while my taste, I still love the dark anime, the dark RPGs. I like to play those, but I also find that I've gone away more from, of course, mainstream because I'm finding games that are much more easily accessible and much more easy for players than the standard you know D&D type stuff. Because this one adds just a lot. But um, what's our next top five? Which one are we gonna go with next? Because it is almost media section time.
Let's do tabletop games.
Okay. So no particular order because I really didn't think about this a ton. But it is I don't play a lot of board games, even though I used to have a ton of board games. I don't play them anymore. I sold them all. I do have a few left, but top five tabletop games. I'm gonna have to include miniature games into this type stuff.
I
And
did exclusively miniature games because I thought that's what we were talking about.
well, I mean, I don't play hardly any board games. I'm gonna put Judgment in as my first one. I really like it because it's only 7 models maximum. You're played on a gridded system. The dice system is really easy. Miniatures are really nice. Shout out Creature Caster for these miniatures. Really enjoy the system. It's got a lot of good combat and combos to it. It's not just I pick up a bunch of d6, roll to hit you. You pick up a bunch of d6, see if you soak it, and then I roll a bunch of d6 and I do 1 damage. It is a very good system. I like it. It can be played very quickly, and since it's on a gridded system, you don't have to worry about measurement. You just count the hexagons, and you're good.
Yes.
Nerd.
Nice. My first one is might surprise some people that I'm going to choose a strategy game.
Okay.
It is a 2-person strategy game called Cathedral. It is kind of like Tetris, but within the bounds of just a square board game. And you have different shaped pieces of 2 different color cathedrals. So you've got a light and a dark. It's all nice carved wood pieces. But they're shaped almost like different Tetris pieces, and you have to try and take over as much space as possible and blocking out the other person. So,
And I'll have
it's
fun.
yeah. It was a real toss up between Cathedral and Othello because I really like my 2-person strategy games. So,
Ms.
Well, now that I know that it doesn't have to be just miniature games, I'm going to throw out Catan because I love playing that little fucker so much with my friends. I remember specifically there was one time where we had a whole bunch of sheep in one of our hands and we were trying to trade something. One person goes, "Nobody wants your fucking sheep!"
I have yarn for tuna. I have wood for sheep.
So, yeah, and it's really fun seeing who can get the longest road, or and the amount of pettiness that it brings out in some people is just hilarious. So yeah, Catan, Gonzo.
Next one, I have to go with BattleTech. BattleTech is super easy and super quick, especially playing the Alpha Strike version. Super, super, super fun. If you want a longer game and you want to do the standard long core rules, fine. But BattleTech Alpha Strike, very solid game. I mean, you can pick it up very quickly, very easily. I think Mizzy played 3 games and then went to play in a tournament.
No. I played one game
That was a
and
one
went to
game.
play in a tournament.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's that type of easiness that makes this game fairly accessible. One, the miniatures are small. You don't have to have a ton of them, even though you buy a ton of them because they're BattleTech. But it is a very good, solid game. It is very good also for kids because they can pick up the concepts pretty quickly. And they're fun to paint type thing. So definitely one on my top 5s. Nerd.
Mine is going to be Carcassonne, which is a tile-based castle builder.
Mhm.
But you also like are building roads and trying to take over different farmland and that sort of thing. There are a lot of expansions, but the basic game, there are like the three main things. You've got farms, roads, and castles. And there's a set number of tiles. You're always going to be alternating who draws a tile. But the cool thing is it changes every single time you play because you're never going to pull the same tiles in the same order. You have a single starting tile that every game starts with, but like my friend's 6-year-old kicked our butts after we taught her to play. So like it's one of those where there's not a steep learning curve, but it's very the replayability is high.
Cool.
So. Misery?
I also have BattleTech Alpha Strike on my list because it is easy, and I can play shooty stumpy robots and not have to think about a whole lot of math.
Yeah. I was it's pretty simple and pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. Played one game, went to a tournament. It was great. Had the time of my life. Found my people. Gonzo.
I'm gonna put Star Wars Shatterpoint on there right now. Star Wars Shatterpoint to me, it it can be a little clunky at times with the rules and a little bit clunky in the dice mechanics, but it is a lot of fun. You get to do a lot of shenanigans, and that's the best way to put this. You do a lot of shenanigans in this game. You get to have a lot of fun living out Star Wars fantasy type stuff. Um, and it nothing feels like it's broken, but everything feels like it's badass, especially when you get the combos working. It's good, solid fun game. You don't need many models either. Uh, you know, 7 to 8 models, so 2 packs. I've already bought my army and I'm sticking with it, so I don't have to worry about anything anymore. But
Fuck Vader.
yeah, Vader and the Sith. Um, but I think it's pretty fun. Play it on a small table so you can play it anywhere you want, and just have a good time, blast with it.
Yeah. Nerd.
I am nothing if not a word nerd, so Scrabble is definitely on this list. Um, that was the game I played with my mom. Other than cribbage, I think those are the two games that we played the most. Were Scrabble and cribbage, and just again, it's one of those where it's different every single time, and it's depending on who you play with, how many people are playing. Like words on stream, words with your friends, that's all fun. But the tactile, like little wood tiles, like I have my grandpa's old like actual wood tile set, and I just yeah, I I've it's playing Scrabble as much as I have has definitely made me like I would be a terror at Wheel of Fortune. Just like I see things that are like I can instantly rearrange them in my head to make other words or like fill in gaps and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, no Scrabble. Busy.
Nice. Rem Racers. I need more people to play it with. It is basically Mario Kart board game, but it's made by Corvus Belli in the
Okay.
Infinity universe. So they've got these special characters that you can play as, and you've got like this little remote thing, and then you race around the track and you cause shenanigans. It's great. And you got a D12 that you could roll depending on the attacks that you want to do. It's fucking hilarious and the blast time of my life. More people, please play with me. I need a group to play Rim Racers with because it is glorious.
Rem, REM.
Mhm.
REM Racers.
Okay.
So like
Okay, I
remote.
wasn't sure
Short for
if it was an A or an E.
Yeah, short for remote racers.
Ah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Gonzo?
My second to last one, I'm gonna tell you, Warcrow is fucking legit. I picked it up and I was like, I'll just pick up the 2 battle box. I've done some demos that was like, oh, this would be interesting, so on and so forth. And I will tell you, Warcrow is creeping up to be one of my favorite games of all time. It's a ton of fun. Mizzy and I have done the first narrative campaign, and we'll be doing a review of the first narrative campaign with pictures and such once she gets done editing those pictures.
As soon as I get done doing everything else I need to do, yes.
And we're going to do a
all
review
the
of it.
things.
I got 2 days off this week. I will get it done.
Yeah. But
Amazing you.
but vastly, that game has become one of my top favorites of all time. It's a
Mhm.
lot of fun. Mechanics are very, very simple now that we figured, once you get them down and once you understand, especially when you have the dice, it makes it a whole lot easier and
Yeah,
quicker.
the dice make a difference.
Yeah, because it does use proprietary dice, D8s, but it has been working really good. Um, Very simple, very easy, very tactical. Very much these narrative games were very good. They are planning on having a tournament packet, which will probably come out sometime before Adepticon, because I'm sure they're going to have something there. But thoroughly enjoyed it. Love the game a lot. I highly recommend it. It's played on a 3x3, so it's just simple and easy for people to get a hold of.
Yeah.
Nerd?
This should come as a shock to no one. Trivial Pursuit. I grew up with no less than 3 different editions of that game. I was the first member of my family to ever beat my dad at Trivial Pursuit, which is saying something. And definitely fostered a love for pub quizzes. Uh, so it just adds to me being a bottomless pit of information, random bits of information. Thanks, Trivial Pursuit. Mizzy?
I'm also gonna go with Star Wars Shatterpoint because it's a lot of fun. Shenanigans abound everywhere. I've got my rebels now, so maybe I will finally beat Gonzo and his stupid Vader assholes.
My last one, of course, is War Machine and Hordes. I've been playing this game since it's been out, and haven't stopped. It's been a ton of fun. It's been a blast. I really like it. I like the newest edition more than anything else right now. Um, I wish there was more people that played it because it's a lot of fun. I do enjoy the smaller game version. I like 75 points over 100 any day because it means I don't get to take everything. I like tight, building lists type thing. But I enjoy the crap out of it. I mean, been playing this, like I said, literally since the game has come out 20 plus years. So, other than that, nerd.
Nerd.
Munchkin. I own all. 'Cause, oh God, at one point I had 8 different versions of Munchkin in my possession, and for the vanilla set, I have all but one of the expansions. I don't have the dungeons expansion, but I have every other one. I even have a signed copy from John Kovalik of Conan Munchkin because I love Munchkin. It is ridiculous. The concept is kill the monsters, steal the treasure, stab your buddy. It is dungeon crawling and backstabbing at its finest. And uh it can end friendships, but I still love that game. It is D&D in card form essentially.
Nice.
So,
All right. My last one, to nobody's surprise, is also War Machine. Specifically Mark IV, because troll pirates are my babies, and now I get to do all the eaty things and smash. It's great. But the rules are a lot more accessible to more people now, in my opinion. Because Mark III, I looked at it and I said, "There's no way." But now I'm like, okay, yeah, I can work with this, and now I'm actually, kind of decent at it. So, yeah.
which this now leads into our media section. So, guys, we're gonna have a little bit of different media section. This is our top 5 media section, and these are the top 5 movies that we grew up with up to the age of 12, not going over the age of 13, because we have to set it before we became, teenagers. Yeah.
PG
So
13. Meh.
yeah, so we had to do that so we could get it going. And what was interesting was, no surprise, a lot of them are Star Wars for me because that's what I grew up with. But and a lot of nerdy stuff. But the one show that is not nerdy that really had an impact on me as an adult, so on and so forth, was Breakfast Club. Breakfast Club, and it's still relevant to today. You could give that movie to today's teenagers, and they will catch it and understand it and know it, and and vibe with it. And that movie is just solid all the way around. One of the best John Hughes movies ever. Great actors, great thing, great story, uh, great lines, and everything to it. So, nerd.
We're gonna start early in my life with Ghostbusters. I didn't see it until I was older, but still a child. Uh, but it launched my love for comedy sci-fi. I'm just absolutely here for it. Just bring it, gimme. It's a classic. Everybody knows it. It like I yeah. There is no nerd, only Zool.
Mizzy?
I'm just now realizing that all but one of my movies are Disney. So let's go with the not Disney one, unless maybe it is. I don't know. But Secondhand Lions. Um,
Okay.
I was
That's actually a good
obsessed
movie.
with. I was obsessed with it because it had such a really great story to it. But it also had that action and adventure type thing. But it also got you in your feels too. Oh, Jasmine, feels. So yeah, I still love that movie to this day. I don't know what it was about it when I was growing up, but now I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Gonzo?
and solid great actors in it too.
Uh-huh. Robert Duvall and Michael Caine.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
solid ones. Um, and this also should have no surprise, and I actually bought the RPG for it, which is actually a really good RPG too. Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal is I've always been a big Jim Henson fan, and when this came out, I was like, "What, puppets can do this?" And I fell in love with this movie. It is a great fantasy. Ogren is amazing. I love that character. She is such the epitome of a cranky bitch that wants to do good. I love her. The Gelflings are amazing. Everything, and it's the thing is this is a kids show, and it's pretty fucking creepy as a kids show too. The Skeksis scared the shit out of some people because of how they looked. But I love this. Fizzgig is amazing. Um, it's got a great story. I was so sad that the prequel, didn't go anywhere, but I understand because it's a prequel. It's kind of, we already know what's going to happen type thing. And I wish they would have just kept to the traditional uh, going. But Dark Crystal is just such a great fantasy show. Highly recommend it if if you're not, if you've never seen it, go watch it. It's just really, really good fun. Nerd.
Next we're gonna go to 1991. And we're gonna look at Hook, which
Oh.
it
Yep, that's a good
Bangarang,
one.
bitch. Bangarang.
Bangarang. Yeah, no, it is so hard to criticize that movie. Like it did so many things right, and the casting, the costumes, the set pieces, just ah, so good, so good, so good, so good.
There's a
Plus,
lot of
it's Peter
good.
Pan, which is my favorite story of all time. So, like, it brought so many things together for me.
Yeah, there's so many feel good and emotion scenes in there.
Hmm.
Whenever he's like, "What are y'all eating?" They're like, "We're eating food. Play, play." And then when he starts playing and the actual food appear and such, it was a really good message. The Lost Boys,
Hmm.
Rufio, it's just everything about that is such a good. I still use the whole thing bad form when something happens because I was like, it's just such a classic. That's a good movie. I'm really happy that's on your list because it's one of the Robin Williams movies that people didn't really like until later, and I was like, man, this is
Hmm.
such a good Robin Williams.
It's one of his best.
In my opinion, it's one of his top
Yeah.
ones because
Definitely.
it just fits him because it's just so fun. It's just a good,
Hmm.
energetic, thing, and the Lost Boys are amazing in it. So sorry, didn't mean to hijack it, but it's a very good one.
No, you're fine. No, it absolutely is the epitome of finding your inner child.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
Ms.
Yeah.
This one came out before I was born, but I watched it so much I broke VHS tapes. The Little Mermaid. Yeah. I broke all the VHS tapes watching The Little Mermaid because I would watch it on repeat. I would get done and then I would demand to watch it again. Great. And things make sense. Ships, oceans, sea life. Yeah, that's a consistent theme for me. I know, shocker.
um, my next one, and I know I'm gonna catch a lot of flack with this. My last three are Star Wars, and they're kind of order of appearance of the way I liked them the most. Um, Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back was great. I know a lot of people consider that the best Star Wars of all three. To me, it's my least of the trilogy, but it was still amazingly good because you got a lot of story, a lot of energetic, everything. But I thought it was really good. And for people who don't know, I mean, Star Wars integrated into me so much. I mean, hell, I have expensive lightsabers. I have Jedi tattoos. I
Say
have
birds.
yeah, sabers. I have more. I have actually a bunch of replica stuff from Star Wars. I'm playing a Star Wars
Look at his
game,
sword.
so so on and so forth. But Empire is my third favorite Star Wars movie. Nerd.
All right. Next, again, not going to be a shocker. Adam's Family, which is
Which one?
probably the first one, the 1991 with
Oh,
Raul
okay.
Julia and
Oh,
and
The
yes.
perfect
and
Morticia and Gomez.
yes, yes. Um, that started, but like I grew up wanting to be Wednesday Adams because she was one of the first movie characters that I actually identified with, like
That
almost
tracks.
completely. Yeah. No, they're yeah, I wanted that to be my family. I wanted to be the weird goth kid. I would braid my hair, dress in black, and ride around on my bike and stare at the neighbors. No wonder they thought I was weird. So yeah, yeah. Again, amazing casting. Loved the style of it, and yeah, just a classic.
Yeah, I think he's been the best Gomez.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah,
100%.
R.I.P. Raul Julia.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ms.
My next one is also not going to be a surprise because I still watch it to this day because it is the ultimate comfort movie and it is Mulan. Why
I,
are
w- I, w- I was mouthing Treasure Island. And then he said Mulan. I was like, wait a minute, that's not what.
Mulan, the songs? We gotta defeat the Huns.
Make a man out of you.
Yes.
One of the best Disney movies, hands down.
Yeah.
Or best
Mm-hmm.
movie songs, hands down.
Yes.
Yes, please. Let's get down to business.
Belt that sucker on road
Just not on
trips.
you, just not on your cow, just not on your whole family.
My next one, and it's still a Star Wars, Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi always holds a special place because I thought that was the last Star Wars I would ever get to see. That because when I was growing up, Return of the Jedi done. We were never going to see Star Wars again. I was like, cool, that's the end of the story. And then of course, we're in an explosion of Star Wars stuff. But to see um, Luke become this badass Jedi and the story ending and so on and so forth. Uh, Great one. Really big part of me, but that was one of my top two of my Star Wars. Nerd?
This is I pulled a Mizzy on this movie. I went through. I think I wore out 2 VHS copies before my parents refused to buy me one after the third. Um, the live action Disney Three Musketeers from 1993, starring Tim Curry.
Oh.
Um, and I was absolutely obsessed. I did not know it at the I didn't know who Bob Anderson was at the time, but now knowing of his involvement with that and Star Wars and like Lord of the Rings and all of that, like he is a sword master, and I would watch it over and over and over and over and over again, trying to teach myself how to sword fight. I think I also was at that age because it came out when I was 11, so I think I got a crush on almost every main character at some point, so I would watch it for different reasons.
I see, Matt, and I loved
In
Oliver
different
Platt in
scenes.
that.
Oh, Oliver Platt was so funny. This was a gift to me from the Tsarina of Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah. Him as
How dare you?
Porthos.
That's from the Princess of America.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was so good. That was also like Chris O'Donnell before he got all big and bulked out for Batman and Robin, which was we're gonna pretend that movie doesn't exist. But yeah, it
That's my
was
favorite Three Musketeers movie of all time.
yeah
If there's
yeah
anyone I'll
it's
watch, it is that one.
yeah it didn't try to take itself too seriously,
Mm-mm.
and it didn't try to do over the top action stunts. Like it had legit sword fighting in it, and it made me very, very happy. All right, Mizzy.
My next to last one is Xenon Girl: The 21st Century. It's not one that a lot of people know of. It's a Disney Channel original. It's about this girl who lives on a spaceship, and then like some sketchy shit goes down, and she's investigating it, even though she's not supposed to. And then she gets sent down to Earth. And it's just this whole thing. But what made me remember it is that she was obsessed with this pop star, and I love the song "Zoom Zoom Make My Heart Go Boom Boom." It's great. It was a whole thing at the end, and her catchphrase was "Zetus Lapidus."
My last one is no shocker. Star Wars: A New Hope. Star Wars: A New Hope is just the start of mine. For anybody, of course, we've all seen it and all know it. That is the start of my Star Wars journey type thing, and just that's just how it is. It started everything for me, um, and I have everything Star Wars. It's just that show and those characters and opened up for everything for me. Like I said, I have Star Wars tattoos. I have everything, so it's that's part of who I am and everything. I love the Star Wars universe. I love it. I know it's just a lot of people choose Star Trek over Star Wars because of the thing. Love them both. Don't get me wrong, but Star Wars will always hold a special place. And that movie right there, when I saw it as a kid, I went, "Holy fuck, this is real. We can have movies like this." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm a Jedi." I went home and grabbed a stick and started fighting. Don't think it. So, nerd?
Uh, Again, this will be no surprise to anyone. Nightmare Before Christmas, because it
Oh
was a Tim Burton
yes.
animated musical, and it was stop motion animation, and
Yes.
which is my favorite style of animation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it wasn't until years later that I had any inkling of who Danny Elfman was outside of a composer for Tim Burton movies, or that he was the voice of Jack, but it was just so well done, so well written, um, so stylistically different from anything else that was out at the time, too.
Oh yeah, it broke barriers.
Yeah, so many things, and the music just sticks in your brain forever.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. So yeah. Mizzy, you're last.
2004 was my year where I became obsessed with Johnny Depp. And because Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
Shocker.
And yeah, I know, big shocker here. Like, everyone is surprised. Definitely not at all. I've said this so many times. I absolutely love Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just perfection. And unfortunately, I could not put the third one on here because it came out after I was too old. But but the first one is what started it, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I had to when you reminded me about the 12 and under, I was like, oh, I gotta take off Jumanji, I gotta take off Muppet Treasure Island.
Yeah, there's a couple of that I had to go.
I did my math wrong.
Yeah, I had to go back and research just a little bit because I was like, which one? Oh crap, can't pick this one. Type thing. But
Yeah.
it's mostly to figure out, what movies shaped us as children type stuff.
Yeah.
Children.
We do have some more time stuff, but we do going to get through some reviews. So I wanted to add a review in. I did watch the entire new Time Bandit TV series, and immediately after watching that, I watched the original movie to purge my brain of the Time Bandit TV series. It's not good. It's not really good at all. It's You might like it if you liked Our Flag Means Death, but it is a worse written version of comedy than that. The comedy just does not work in this. The characters are meh. The story is meh. It it's definitely not worth it. I'd be very shocked if it got a second season. Um,
I think it's already been canceled.
I haven't seen it say it's been canceled yet, but it was definitely not. I'll look into that while you're looking at other stuff. But I was not impressed with it. It gets like 3.5 to 4 space herpes. Nerd, you got anything?
I've got Interview with the Vampire season 2.
Spoiler-free version.
Yep. I said it once and I'll say it again. If you thought season 1 was intense, holy buckets, hold on to your seats. Strap in. We're going to Paris in the 1940s. It is gorgeous. I really liked the casting for season 2. I had mentioned it earlier before we started that they had to recast Claudia between season 1 and season 2 due to scheduling conflicts, but the girl that plays her in season 2 is just absolutely fantastic. There's some really good twist I didn't see coming. I also I've read the entire Vampire Chronicles, but it was also 20 years ago. So it's fun re-exploring those stories.
Yeah, and from what I understand, Anne Rice has a big hand in this season. That's the reason why she said she changed it up to being, the European version to the Southern,
Southern
New
American
Orleans, Creole type thing, which has been great. I need to get a free account for AMC Plus to watch it because I loved it. It's one of my favorite vampire shows of all time.
They need to quit throwing hot vampires at me, God damn it.
No.
Give me all the hot vampires. All right, Mizzy, you got anything?
I started watching Black Sails. I'm like 6 episodes in.
What,
but
pirates?
I know, shocking. Pirates titties. It's fantastic. But it's a lot of fucking politics too. But it's great. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna keep watching it. I just gotta be in the right headspace for it.
What's interesting about this is there's very few sets, and very few things feel like a set. Everything films like it's filmed on location. A lot of people said this is the most accurate pirate movie of all, type thing. So, or pirate, series, that it's one of the most accurate styled and filmed. So,
I would agree with that, yeah, because doing my research on my pirates, as one does when they're obsessed. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
but yes, for people that are watching it, there's tons of titties out all the time. So if you like titties and
many
pirates,
titties.
you'll love this.
Yeah.
So, this last week, the show Evil finished. The series finally finished. Very interesting TV shows. I thought it was really good. It was a lot of fun. It went from being like an X-Files type thing to what the fuck is going on with these World of the People type thing.
That explains my reactions when I walk in on my roommate watching it.
Yeah,
I'm real confused in the later season.
because it does go that way. It started to take itself as like an X-Files, solve the mystery of what was really happening, and they expanded it to demons and the coming of the Antichrist and everything, and it was great. But I will tell you, I have not seen a cast of a three-person team have more charisma together than these three people. Their lines were done perfectly. It looks like they knew they were having fun, and they just were just fucking around, and they found out, and it was the perfect casting for these three people. These three had charisma together that I could not, you can't replicate. This is something that
Yeah.
you know that when these three people are on the air and doing stuff, it's going to be a good time, and it's really hard to see that in TV shows now because there's usually like big, huge casts or whatever. But I think it was a great show. Overall, for the entire series, I give it 1.5, maybe 2. Um, but I enjoyed the shit out of it, and I think that it was an amazing cast. Good job. The last season, they started adding little sayings and little text messages in their intros to get you to watch the intro. And it was like, if you don't watch the entire intro, you'll have bad luck for 10 years, and Charlie will get something deadly happen to him. And they would just add that in there every so often during the intro of the show. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was great. Nerd?
I've got one last one that I'd forgotten that is a rewatch, but I hadn't seen it in almost 20 years. Master and Commander, which I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed. Like it's not one of those blockbuster movies. It's a slower paced but really well done costumes, sets, story, just high sea shenanigans. I think the whole joke about the lesser of two weevils is my favorite bit. But all right, Mizzy, you got anything else? We got a minute.
Real quick, we started watching Preacher. Holy fuckballs.
I can't wait for your reactions to this. Oh, I've seen all of it.
Yeah, so have I. I loved it when it came out. I watched it when it came out. So they're getting to see it, as, they get to binge watch it when they want. So
yeah, because that's how I watch TV. I binge watch.
Cassidy. Oh,
Cassidy. You want to talk about hot vampires?
You should go back and watch Misfits then. It's an older BBC show. That's where I saw him first.
Okay.
Yeah. Preacher is really, really good. That's another show that went to go, what the fuck? When you're watching.
It's produced by created and produced by Seth Rogen. Yeah. What do you expect?
So.
Yeah, the casting of Cassidy is fucking perfect. Yeah.
We're going to go over just by a little bit because Mizzy and I have one together, and it was Wandla.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Wandla is on Apple TV.
Did you finish it?
We
Uh
did
huh.
finish it. It is a
Okay.
very cute cartoon, very sweet, very nice, very fun. I highly recommend it. It's just go and watch it. We it is good for a second season. We don't know when it's going to come out, but they said the second season will be coming out. But very good little cartoon.
Super adorable. Loved every minute of it,
Yeah,
and the animation's on it great.
yeah, it's very solid. But I wanted to give a semi rant post and a rant type thing. I'm not going to rant hard. So I almost didn't pick up Star Wars Outlaws due to some stuff that was going on. People were talking about it. And then, I did the deep search and just so I like, no, I'm going to do it. Sure. If it's bad, it's bad. I lose the money. But um, people have been trying to hate rage and uh, review bomb this game. And it's a solid fucking game. It is a Star Wars. You're playing a Han Solo type character, uh, KVS, and some people are like, it's a political game. I go, what's political about it? Well, they force you to play as a woman. Get the fuck over it. This character is great. And of course, she's not the big, buxom, blonde, sex symbol type thing, and don't care. The character's fine. There's nothing wrong with the character at all. If you like Red Dead Redemption or Skyrim, but a little less Skyrim, more Red Dead, in a Star Wars universe, you're going to like this game. I've got roughly almost 16 hours into it, and as soon as I'm done here, I'm going back and playing it because there's so much fun stuff to do. There's so many cool things to do in the game. There's a shit ton to find out. It has space combat. It has on the ground, fighting. It has stealth missions, and Nyx is adorable as fuck to have around with you and play. Um, I will tell you, if you like Star Wars and you like open world games, grab this. It is well worth it. Fuck the people that are hating on it because they're just douches. Because my biggest complaint about anything that I get into or anything I like is fan people. And I don't want to say fanboys because it's also the girls too that are doing. So I'm not going to stereotype it that it's fanboys, but it's the fans that are assholes. Because that's the reason why things get canceled, and not because it was a bad show. It's because people are just dicks. Um, I've had a few minor graphic glitches. I've had the game crash twice on some weird things, but
But it's also a brand new game.
brand new
Yeah.
game. There's nothing wrong with this game. It's a ton of fun. It's a blast. The characters are fun. It is a heist game also. So
Ooh.
you're
Oh,
doing a heist.
I definitely got my eyes
Yeah.
on that one.
It is a heist game. I spent so much time on the first planet that I was like, oh shit, there's an actual main story to go through on this. I was collecting and digging and fighting off, bandits and everything. I do like it that it does include some
One of us gets
places.
sidetracked?
Yeah.
No.
There are some planets and stuff that are in some of the future movies that are here. So you get to, see all that stuff. But I'm enjoying it. I'm picking up my gang now and trying to get them to go. And everything's been great. I'm enjoying it. I did turn down the settings to a little bit on story mode because I just wanted to, I'm wanting to just chill with this game and have a good time with it. And I still get my ass kicked because it's got a wanted system like GTA again, so that if you do too much shit against the Empire, they start sending death troopers after you. And the only way to get the death
Ooh.
troopers off you is by uh, picking a key off of an officer and then going to a command center and, you know, wiping your record out. So it's not, yeah, and the thing is I'm sitting there flying around on my speeder bike and I've got the big wanted bounty hunter thing going off and an ATST is chasing me down, shooting at me. And I'm like, shit, flying around trying to get away from everything. It's been a blast. The game is fun as
Chicken
shit.
wires,
Yeah, it's been good. If you like Red Dead Redemption, you like Star Wars, this is for you. Many multiple planets. You also get starfighting combat, so you can fly your ship around and shoot, good old X-wing style, shooting, blowing up spaceships and story. Highly recommend it. It's been so much fun. So Star Wars
So Star
Galaxy.
Wars Galaxy.
But single player, yeah, it's a lot
Yep.
of fun. If you like Star Wars and you like Red Dead Redemption style games, this is what you should go for. Because there is so much to do in this game. It's not even funny. It's hilarious how much crap is in here. So I am playing on the PS5, so I don't know how it works on the PC or Xbox, but the PS5, no problem. I enjoyed it. A few minor things, but nothing I'm worried about. Guys, we appreciate you being here. I know this has been a long time. We've been trying to get this to work. Seems like our stream issues are fixed. Fuck you, Skype. And we will be doing more. Don't forget, Wednesday, we'll be doing some more streaming, painting miniatures and stuff with Nerd and I. Or Nerd, you here this week?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I thought there was one sometime soon that you're going to be disappearing us on a weekend.
Yeah, October.
Oh, in October. Okay. So,
First weekend in October.
So we will have V come in the first weekend of October.
But Goblin Chaos stream.
Yay! We said okay.
We'll have V doing it all. So, guys, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate everything about this. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for making 7 years so awesome. And also, Nerd's 1 year anniversary. We found that out. This was around her 1 year anniversary with us. So, we really appreciate it. For More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm Nerd.
Now Mizzy.
Please take care of yourself. Good night.
Thanks for listening to More Than Dice, making the world a better, nerdier place, one dumb joke at a time. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. For more nerdy action or to connect with your hosts, check them out on Facebook.com/More Than Dice and Twitch.tv/more_than_dice. Until next time, stay nerdy, stay proud, and we'll see you soon on the More Than Dice podcast.